All right, folks, in the age of woke lunacy, it's not always so easy to stand up for what's right, but someone has to. That's where Vermont Christian School and their girls basketball coach Chris Goodwin come in. After the school forfeited a game against a school with a transgender athlete, the Vermont Principals Association sought to punish the school by banning it entirely from athletic events. Well, that school and its coach are fighting back with a lawsuit led up by our friends at Alliance Defending Freedom. And Coach Chris Goodwin and Ryan Tucker join me now. I want to thank you both so much for being with me and explaining this. There's been a lot of headlines kind of surrounding this controversy ever since it initially happened. Coach Goodwin, I want to start with you. For those that aren't familiar with what happened and, why the school made the decision not to compete against a school with a transgender athlete, there's a lot of folks that would say, oh, that's just transphobic, it's hateful, it's intolerant. But for you, it's something entirely different. So can you, Coach, please explain why the school and you made that initial decision not to participate?
Yeah, I don't view it as transphobic at all. Really, the crux to this case is that we would like the opportunity to decide for ourselves, and the girls on our team would like the ability to make their own decisions as to whether they want to participate in sports against biological males or not. When we found out about this situation, coaches in the state, just chatting with them, they told us that there was a biological male playing for another team, and we weren't even on their schedule during the regular season. But we did see, as the playoff seedings began, that we might be lined up to play them in the tournament. And we actually approached the state and said, what are our options here? Do we have to play this game? Is there a possibility that our girls would not have to play against a male athlete? And the state basically got back to us and said, really, there's no way around it, and we would have to compete against them. So when the playoff seedings did come out, that's when our school made the decision, based on our religious beliefs, that men and women are created differently. And as an extension of that, there are physicality differences there. There's fairness issues. And of course, there's safety issues. And that's when we decided to forfeit the game and withdraw from the tournament. And as a result of that, they kicked us out of all athletics in the state of Vermont, not just basketball, track, soccer, cross country, volleyball. Other teams are not allowed to play us at all, and we're not allowed to play them.
Yeah, they were punishing you, obviously sending a message that this whole culture of transgenderism is going to be accepted or else. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of, female athletes out there are really disgusted to see the way this is trending, but they feel as though they can't say anything. They feel as though they can't opt out because they know that that'll have devastating impact for the rest of their team, their school, their futures, their scholarship opportunities. So this is really going to be the snowball effect. Attorney Ryan Tucker with Alliance Defending Freedom, we work with you guys a lot, showcasing the stories and the people that you obviously represent and amplify. I want to talk and go to the core of legally what this means, because I'm sure that there's going to be many more cases like this, at least similar to this, coming up as this whole trend even amplifies more. So can you tell me the legal ramifications of what this case means as far as a precedent?
Yeah, absolutely. The state of Vermont thinks that, people can change their sex, and if schools don't adopt this belief, well, then they're kicked out. Put simply, Mid-Vermont Christian School believes that, boys are boys and girls are girls, and they've been punished for this belief. And the state can't come in and, pick a side, pick a particular viewpoint and say, if you don't believe like us, then you're gone. I mean, ultimately what the state is trying to do here is really just to purge schools and folks like Chris and others at the school from the public square. You mentioned that, Tomi, that, it's an idea where if you don't agree with the government on a controversial issue, one where, here they're ignoring basic biology, they're ignoring safety, privacy, the importance of free speech and religious freedom. And it's either our way or the highway. It's vindictive and it's flat out outrageous.
It's outrageous. Unfortunately, though, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg with this. And if more coaches, more schools don't stand up, I fear that we're headed towards the extinction of women's sports, as they have been and as even they are today. Coach, I want to talk to you about that. I read that you also have coached men's basketball. You're obviously a male yourself. Can you speak to really the core of this issue, both the unfairness aspect as well as the safety aspect for especially young athletes, and what it would mean if this catches on more and we have more men competing against women?
Yeah. Again, I've coached boys basketball before. I've played at a decent level. And what you see on the court with male bodies and male athletes is a speed and a force and an aggressiveness that I know I would not feel comfortable with putting my 14-year-old daughter out there in those situations. So not only is there, the biology is self-evident, right? We've all known and see that boys, men are 20, 30, 40, 50% stronger, bigger, faster, quicker. They just play with more force. And so there's the safety issue with that. And then, of course, there's the fairness issue as well. But I just can't put our daughters and my kids out there on a court to play against male athletes. And I'm afraid that at some point, the only thing that might stop it is if there's going to be a serious injury and someone gets really hurt. And I'm not going to take that risk as a dad, not only with the daughters of the parents of our team.
Right. No, completely understandable. Ryan, in closing here, what I want to talk about with Alliance Defending Freedom and what you guys are doing, have you heard from other schools, other coaches, other parents even that are in a similar situation that want to join this fight or take on a fight of their own as it relates to this case and, the ramifications that come with it?
Yeah, I wish this were the only incident like this, but unfortunately, as you pointed out, it's not. We're litigating several cases across the United States, from Connecticut to Idaho to, places in between. Some of those cases are currently in the middle of those court proceedings. Some are at the courts of appeals. But yes, we've absolutely had a number of different inquiries, a number of which are now from religious schools. Schools that are being told, if you don't change your beliefs and your policies, then you can't compete in middle school or high school athletics. This is a travesty. It's a travesty for the girls involved, and it's a travesty for these schools and all that are participating.
Yeah, well, again, we thank Alliance Defending Freedom for everything that you guys do to stand up for parental rights, to stand up for individual rights, liberties, to stand up for what's right. Not always easy to do. Not everybody has, the resources to play this game, but I'm so happy that you both are taking it on and spreading the word about it. Thanks for taking the time and explaining to me what's going on, and best of luck in your endeavors. We're certainly rooting for both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tomi.
Thanks, Coach.